My reactions to week 12 of the 2024-25 NFL season. Starting with the first game, Steelers at Browns. Uh, Browns beat the Steelers 24-19 in a snowstorm. I was watching the highlights, couldn't really see anything because there was so much white. You would think that somebody poured cocaine powder on the field, but um, it was an interesting game. These divisional games are always interesting, especially on the road for the Steelers. They lost, but I don't know what to think about the Steelers. Honestly, I mean, I think they're still a very good team. Could I just feel like there's a ceiling with them, but if Russell Wilson can play like he did against the Jets, man, or even against the Commanders, then they're contenders, definitely Super Bowl contenders. But I mean, he played pretty well in this game too. Just it was just a weird game, honestly. Got to give credit to the Browns though. They showed up and beat the Steelers. But yeah, it was a very interesting game. Titans at Texans. The Titans beat the Texans 32-27. It was a crazy game. I thought the Texans would show up in this game, and at times they did, but it just was just inconsistent. C.J. Stroud had 2 interceptions in the game, and they just weren't able to overcome it. And for the Titans, there was one play by Will Levis where it seems like he's makes this almost every game, or at least he did earlier in the season, where it just looks like dudes on like dudes just confused, basically, like he doesn't know where he is, because he just threw a pick six right to Jimmy Ward, like a what the hell moment from Will Levis. Like I said, he's had that a few times this season, especially early on in the season. But I got to give credit to Will Levis. I mean, he's playing better as of recently. So are the Titans. Ever since they got destroyed by the Lions, since then the next couple of games the next few games they played, they've been playing pretty well. We're able to beat the Patriots. We're able to beat the Texans. So yeah, it was a great win for the Titans. And for the Texans, I mean, I think they'll win this division by default, the AFC South, because I don't see any other team going on a win streak other than maybe the Titans, but I don't know what the record is, the Titans, so I don't know if they'll be able to get back in it, even if they keep winning. But when you look at the last few seasons, I mean, the leader of the division, not the winners, but the leader of the division, the last few years, collapsed. The Titans back in 2022 collapsed, and the Jaguars were able to go on a hot streak and win the division to end the year. Last year, the Jaguars started off hot. They collapsed down the stretch thanks to Trevor Lawrence's injury. The Texans took advantage and were able to go on a hot streak to end the season. This year, it looks like the Texans are kind of collapsing. But unlike the last 2 years, I don't, like I said, I don't know the record for the Titans, so I just don't see any other team winning this division other than the Texans, even if they keep losing. But I don't know. I just don't. They might be one and done in the playoffs, but we'll just have to wait and see. Lions at Colts. Lions beat the Colts 24-6. Both Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery scored a touchdown in this game. I think they've won every game that they've scored a touchdown in. For the Colts, they put up a fight against the Lions. Problem is they just couldn't convert in the red zone, unlike the Lions, who did. But I still got to give them credit. They put up a hell of a fight. And the Lions, they play the Bears tomorrow, actually, for Thursday Night Football, hoping to snap the Thanksgiving losing streak. But we'll see. Hopefully they do, but because I'm a Lions fan, but we'll see. As far as the Colts goes, I mean, their season's not over by any stretch, but they're still in kind of a rebuild mode. I feel like with Anthony Richardson, he has to improve, especially in the short game. But yeah, I feel like the Colts right now are kind of in a rebuild mode. I mean, maybe they can make the playoffs. Maybe they could, or at least make a playoff run, but or a run to the playoffs. But we'll see. But the Colts play the Jets. Not the Jets. Who do they play next week? The Patriots next week, and like I said, the Lions play the Bears at home tomorrow for Thanksgiving. Patriots at Dolphins. Dolphins just blew up the Patriots. 34-15, but really it wasn't even that close. It was a 28-point game in favor of the Dolphins. The Dolphins are on a hot streak right now. Ever since Tua came back, they've been on a hot streak. Sure, they lost a few games when he's come back, like the Cardinals game and who was it they played? The Bills game. But they put up a hell of a fight in those two games and almost won those two games. But they've won the last few games, and they've definitely gotten back into the playoff race. They got a good chance to beat the Packers tomorrow on Thanksgiving in Green Bay. But we'll see if they do. Because one thing that I was going to say, the one thing that doesn't really do them any favors is playing in the cold. But we'll just have to wait and see. But the Dolphins right now, they're on a hot streak, and the Patriots, even though they got destroyed basically, I still feel like they're making strides. The last few games have shown that, and yeah, they got a bright future, man. They got a quarterback. They just got to build around him, but the Patriots right now, they're in rebuild mode, and the Dolphins are trying to make a playoff push right now. And it would not surprise me if they beat the Packers tomorrow. Chiefs at Panthers. The Chiefs beat the Panthers 30-27. There's two ways you can look at this game. There's no way in hell. One, there's no way in hell the Chiefs should have even been in a close game against the Panthers. Or you can look at it as the Panthers, they battled their asses off. I mean, they've been playing really well as of recently. Not winning every game they played recently, but they've been battling. Bryce Young could definitely turn his career around. He's been playing better in the last few games, and I believe that'll continue. The Panthers' future, if they can maybe get a couple more players, they'll definitely have a bright future. I believe that Bryce Young can and will develop into something special, but we'll just have to wait and see. Vikings at Bears. Another heartbreaking loss for the Bears. The Vikings, they've been teetering the last 2 weeks. Got to give them credit though; they've won the last 3 games. Um, Even though it has not looked good, it's looked ugly. But they've won the last 3 games. Last 3 or 4 games actually. The Vikings have. But the Bears, they put up a fight again. They almost came back. They were down by 10 with like I can't remember how much time was left, but it was um, not enough. They almost came back though. They got an onside kick to get the ball back. Scored a game tying field goal to take the game into overtime, and ultimately the offense just couldn't finish it off in overtime. They got the ball first, but they just couldn't do anything offensively with it. And the Vikings took advantage and got a field goal to give them the win. Buccaneers at Giants. Buccaneers just wrecked shop on the Giants. Beat them 30-7. It was a 30-point game at one point. But yeah, the Bucks they bounced back in a major way against the Giants, and the Giants they just look like they gave up, man. They gave up on their coach. They ultimately they just looked like they gave up, man. The Giants didn't. The effort wasn't there. Not to say that they would have beaten the Giants anyways, but at least they would have. It would have been a closer game had they had much better effort, but they didn't. It just looked like they quit in this game, and I gotta feel bad for Tommy DeVito. I mean, he was mocked by Baker Mayfield on that touchdown, which I found to be bogus. Bullshit. Basically, I feel like that was a low. What's the word I'm looking for? A classless move by Baker Mayfield, but doesn't really surprise me because Baker's done that at times. But he's a hell of a quarterback, though, on Baker Mayfield. But again, I feel bad for Tommy DeVito. Hopefully he's back up in the future because I don't think he's going to be a starter. But yeah, just he got mocked by Baker Mayfield, and the Buccaneers just wrecked shop in New York. And yeah, it was just a horrible, horrible day for the Giants and specifically Tommy DeVito. Cowboys at Commanders. This game was it was pretty decent up until like the last 3 minutes. The last 5 or 3 minutes was insane. One of the craziest finishes I've ever seen in a football game. Well, aside from the 13-second game in Kansas City against the Buffalo Bills, ended up I think it was a divisional round of the 2022 playoffs, but yeah, it was an insane ending. The Commanders scored a touchdown, or they got a. Did they get a field goal? Or did they get a touchdown? But Cavante Turpin had a sick kick return touchdown to get the game to within like 10 or to extend the lead for the Cowboys to 10 points. Commanders then scored a field goal, I think. Later got the ball back with about 30 seconds or 34 seconds. Had an insane 86-yard touchdown to Terry McLaurin. But the kicker missed the extra point. So instead of tying it, they were still down by 1. So they had to go for the onside kick, and they weren't able to recover it. Even worse, the Cowboys recovered it and returned it for a touchdown. You could argue that it was a bad move by the Cowboys player, but it's not like he's gonna have very many opportunities to score. So good for him to extend the lead to 34-26. But the Commanders just ran out of luck, ran out of special plays. They got the ball back, but were not able to convert a Hail Mary. And that was that. The Cowboys ended up upsetting the Commanders 34-26. It was an insane ending, though. Most definitely, not gonna lie. Why the fuck does this fucking piece of Broncos or Sunday afternoon football games? Broncos at Raiders. Raiders put up a fight against the Broncos, as you would expect. 1, they were at home. 2, it was a divisional game, so these divisional games were always tough. But the Broncos were able to come back. Even though they were down like 10 points, I think. But they won the game 29-19. Bo Nix had another very good game. Courtland Sutton had another touchdown. In my opinion, he's their best player on offense. And the Raiders, they just weren't able to do much after, because Gardner Minshew got injured in the game. And after that, they just weren't able to do much offensively at all. But great win for the Broncos as they're continuing to make a playoff push. And the Raiders, they got one of the top picks in the draft. Might be drafting a quarterback. We'll see. But I feel like I've said this before and I'll say it again. I think the Raiders need to blow it up. Maybe trade Max Crosby for a few first round draft picks and stock up on draft capital, basically. Trade a couple more players for that. But I just think they need to blow it up. And for the most part, do like a complete reset. '49ers at Packers. Brock Purdy wasn't playing in this game, and it really showed. Brandon Allen was playing instead. And the Niners got destroyed 38-10. Great win for the Packers. They were looking shaky the last few games, but this game they really just beat the brakes off the 49ers for the first time, because usually the Niners are able to beat the Packers, but not this game. I got to give a lot of credit to the Packers and to the Niners. Their season's on life support right now, honestly. And what's even worse is they play the Bills next week, so that's not going to be an easy game at all. Cardinals at Seahawks. Seahawks beat the Cardinals at home 16-6. Kyler Murray threw a pick 6 to Kobe Bryant. God rest his soul. But in all seriousness, though, the Seahawks. The thing is with the Seahawks, they look much better. They look completely different with DK Metcalf in the lineup as opposed to when he's not. They have a much better chance winning games with DK Metcalf than they don't. They've won the last two divisional games. The last two games they played against the Niners on the road. For the first time ever in Geno's career, we're able to beat the Niners. And they beat the Cardinals in this game, so they're in first place in the division, and they got a pretty decent schedule. Not too bad, but not too great either. It's pretty decent, but yeah, great win for the Seahawks. For the Cardinals, we'll see how they play the next game, which will kind of tell me if they're gonna make the playoffs or not. The next two games, honestly, but Cardinals are still in it, even despite the loss. But we'll see what happens the rest of the way. Sunday Night Football, Eagles at Rams. Eagles beat the Rams 37-20. Rams just did not have enough at all. They couldn't do anything against the defense for the Eagles, who had a massive game. And another player that had a massive game was Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley. He had like 300 rushing yards. And yeah, dude was a menace in this game. Just ran all over the Rams defense, and he looks like a definite candidate for MVP right now. But we'll see what happens the rest of the way. The Eagles got a kind of a tough game next week, and only reason why I say kind of a tough game is because the Ravens, they've been inconsistent. And Lamar Jackson's been really good against the NFC, so we'll see what happens. But this game could either be a blowout win for the Ravens, or this could be a blowout win for the Eagles, honestly. I don't see any in between. So it could go either way, but we'll see what happens. And finally, Monday Night Football, Ravens at Chargers. Ravens beat the Chargers 30-23. They were down by like 10, I think, 10-14. But they came back and were in commanding lead against the Chargers. The Chargers just did not have enough. Justin Herbert balled out. Jim Harbaugh is a great coach, but they just need more weapons, man. I mean, Ladd McConkey's great. I believe he can be great, but he can't do it all by himself. They need a couple more weapons on offense. And J.K. Dobbins got injured in the game, and after he went out of the game due to an injury, the Chargers just did not have enough, honestly, offensively. They need more weapons around Herbert. And I think the Chargers are still a playoff team, but I don't think they'll necessarily go far in the playoffs because, again, they don't have enough. But for the Ravens, this is what's frustrating about the Ravens is one game they'll destroy the heck out of a great team or a really good team, and then the next they just absolutely disappear, pull a David Copperfield and disappear, which is why I say that they can very easily destroy they can destroy the Eagles on Sunday, but they can also be destroyed by the Eagles. So we'll just have to wait and see. But just a very inconsistent team. But the Ravens, when they're on one, they're on one. They definitely have the potential to win a Super Bowl, but the problem is they need more consistency. The passing defense could be their downfall. It's not very good, but we'll just have to wait and see. Either way, it was another great week of football, and I'm curious to see what happens starting tomorrow for Week 13.